Don't cry, ma'am. The small voice cut through the evening air like a bell. You can borrow our dad to make you feel better. And us too. We're really good at making people smile. 35-year-old Kellen Rhodes froze mid-step, his heart dropping as he watched his 6-year-old daughter, Amara, stand fearlessly in front of a crying stranger. Her twin sister, Lenny, was already moving to join her, their small hands clasped together with that determination they always had when they decided something important needed to happen. The woman on the bench looked up, tears streaming down her face, her expression shifting from despair to pure shock. Around them, Briarwood Park glowed with Christmas lights, families laughing, children racing through displays, the scent of roasted chestnuts thick in the cold December air. But here, beneath this oak tree strung with white lights, sat one woman completely alone in a sea of celebration. Amara, Lenny. Kellen's voice came out strangled as he hurried forward. Girls, wait. But they weren't waiting. They never did when someone needed help. I'm so sorry, Kellen gasped as he reached them, breath forming clouds in the frigid air. Nobody should be sad and alone at Christmas, Lenny interrupted matter-of-factly. So you can borrow us for a while. The woman wiped her face with trembling hands. Late 20s, maybe early 30s, with rich dark skin and long black braids catching the light overhead, elegant even in grief. She looked at the identical girls, then at Kellen, and something softened. That's very sweet of you both. Her voice was hoarse, fragile. I'm Amara, and this is Lenny, Amara announced, pointing to a tiny freckle near her left ear. That's how people tell us apart. I'm Kellen. He ran a hand over his close-cropped hair nervously. Again, I apologize. Rowan? The woman interrupted softly, extending a cold hand. Rowan Vale. And please don't apologize. They're lovely. Before Kellen could respond, both girls climbed onto the bench beside Rowan, each taking one of her hands. See, we're excellent at this, Amara declared. Sometimes people just need someone to sit with them. Rowan stared at the small hands holding hers, then let out a breath that was half laugh, half sob. You're very perceptive. Kellen stood awkwardly, recognizing the rawness of her pain. He'd worn that same expression 3 years ago when the world stopped making sense and every breath felt like drowning. We were going to get hot chocolate, Amara continued. You should come. I don't want to intrude. You're not, Kellen found himself saying. Besides, I learned long ago not to argue when they team up. The smile that touched Rowan's lips was small but genuine. Then thank you. I'd like that. The Ember Cup Cafe welcomed them with cinnamon-scented warmth. Mrs. Hart, the owner, a black woman with silver locks and warm brown eyes, looked up as they entered, curiosity sparking when she saw Rowan. The twins were already pulling Rowan toward their corner booth, claiming window seats to watch the snow beginning to fall. Mrs. Hart brought hot chocolate topped with whipped cream mountains and candy cane stirrers. Mrs. Hart, this is our new friend Rowan, Amara said. We found her at the park, and she was sad, so we're making her feel better. Kellen wanted to sink through the floor, but Mrs. Hart just smiled warmly. Then you're in excellent hands, dear. Silence settled as the twins attacked their hot chocolate. Kellen felt the weight of the situation. What did you say to a stranger you just met in crisis? Rowan spoke first. You have beautiful daughters. Thank you. The words came out heavier than intended, weighted with 3 years of being everything to them. They're my world. Why were you crying, Miss Rowan? Lenny asked suddenly, whipped cream on her nose. Did someone hurt your feelings? Lenny, Kellen started. It's okay. Rowan looked at the little girl carefully. I was sad because Christmas makes me remember people I miss very much. Like people who died? Amara asked with brutal childhood honesty. Yes, like people who died. Both twins nodded solemnly. Lenny reached across the table and patted Rowan's hand. Our mommy died too. We were 3. We don't remember her much, but Daddy says she's in heaven. The air seemed to leave the cafe. Kellen sat frozen, stunned that his daughters had shared something he usually kept private. But Rowan's eyes filled with tears. Not sad ones, but something softer. I'm so sorry. That must have been incredibly hard. It was, Kellen said, his voice rough. He didn't usually talk about this, but something about Rowan's openness made the walls seem pointless. I lost my family too, Rowan said suddenly. My parents and my brother and sister, all at once, 7 years ago, a car accident. All of them? Amara's eyes went wide. At the same time? Rowan nodded, holding back the tear that threatened to escape. You must be very lonely, Lenny said, her voice trembling. Then, without warning, she scrambled out of her seat and wrapped her small arms around Rowan's waist. Amara quickly followed. We know about lonely. Daddy gets lonely sometimes, too. Rowan held both girls close, her shoulders shaking with silent sobs. For a long moment, no one spoke. They just sat there, 2 grieving children and 1 grieving woman, holding each other while Christmas music played softly overhead. When Rowan finally pulled back, she wiped her eyes and laughed shakily. I'm sorry. I'm so emotional. Daddy says feelings aren't wrong, Amara informed her. They just are. Your daddy is very wise, Rowan said, looking at Kellen with wonder. The conversation shifted then, the walls down. They weren't strangers anymore. They were people who understood loss. What do you do? Kellen asked. I own a hair care company. Natural products, sustainable practices. Started it 5 years ago, 2 years after I lost my family. She paused. It kept me busy. Maybe too busy. I threw myself into work because if I was working, I didn't have to think about how empty my apartment was, how there was no one to call when something good happened. I understand that, Kellen said softly. After Talia died, work became my safe place. Engineering problems have solutions. Grief doesn't. Exactly. People kept telling me time would heal it, but they were wrong. Time just makes you better at pretending. Until you're sitting alone on a park bench on Christmas Eve, Kellen said. Until 2 little girls decide you need rescuing, Rowan corrected with a small smile. Lenny looked up. Are you going to be alone tomorrow, too, on Christmas? The question hung heavy. Rowan's smile faltered. Yes, sweetie. What do you do? I work, mostly, or watch movies. Try not to think about... She stopped, swallowing hard. That's not Christmas, Lenny declared. Christmas is supposed to have people. Kellen watched Rowan's face crumble slightly, watched her fight to hold together, and something in him shifted. But Amara beat him to it. You should come to our house tomorrow. We have presents and Daddy makes snowman pancakes. Right, Daddy? Kellen met Rowan's eyes across the table. He saw hope there, mixed with fear and uncertainty. A woman who'd been alone for 7 years being offered a lifeline. They're right, he heard himself saying. You shouldn't be alone tomorrow. Nothing fancy, just pancakes and chaos. But there'll be laughter, and you'd be very welcome. I couldn't impose. You're not imposing. You'd be doing us a favor. The girls will be thrilled, and honestly, he paused. It would be nice to have another adult around. Someone who understands that Christmas can be beautiful and hard at the same time. Rowan looked at the twins, then back at Kellen. Are you sure? We know you've been through loss. We know you're brave enough to sit in a park full of happy families even when it hurts. That's enough. A genuine smile spread across Rowan's face. Then yes. Thank you. I'd love to. The twins erupted in cheers. Rowan arrived at 10 sharp, standing on the porch with wrapped presents and an uncertain smile. She'd changed 3 times that morning, finally settling on jeans and a cream sweater that complemented her dark skin beautifully. Kellen opened the door, and for a moment, They just stared. In the warm morning light, he really saw her, and she was beautiful. "Hi," she said softly. "Hi, fair warning, it's complete mayhem in here." Twin tornadoes hit her full speed. "Miss Rowan, you came." "Of course I came. I wouldn't miss this." "Santa came." Amara grabbed her hand. "And we waited for you because Daddy said we couldn't start without you." Rowan looked up at Kellen. "You waited for me?" "They insisted. Apparently Christmas isn't complete without you." The living room was beautifully chaotic. The tree leaned slightly left, covered in mismatched ornaments spanning years, handmade preschool ones, delicate glass ones that must have been Talia's, new ones the girls had picked. Mountains of presents spilled underneath. When the twins opened Rowan's gifts, professional watercolor sets with dozens of colors, thick artist sketchbooks, real brushes, they went silent. Then Amara whispered, "These are like real artist supplies." "Because you're real artists," Rowan said seriously. "I saw your drawings last night. You have talent." Both girls launched themselves at her. "Thank you, Miss Rowan." Kellen felt his throat tighten. Rowan had seen something in his daughters in a single evening and honored it. "Now you have to open yours," Lenny demanded. Inside was a handmade card, construction paper covered in glitter. On the front, "Welcome to our family." Inside they'd drawn stick figures, 3 being joined by a 4th with black braids. Underneath, "Dear Miss Rowan, thank you for being sad in the park so we could find you. Love, Lenny and Amara." Rowan pressed the card to her chest, tears streaming. "This is the most beautiful thing anyone's ever given me." "Really?" Lenny looked skeptical. "It's just paper." "No," Rowan said firmly, pulling them close. "It's perfect." After breakfast, snowman pancakes that Rowan hilariously failed to flip, sending one across the kitchen, they settled in the living room. The twins started experimenting with their new paints, and Rowan sat on the floor with them, showing them how to mix colors, create washes, blend shades. Kellen sat on the couch, supposedly reading, actually watching them. His daughters laughing with pure joy. This woman who'd been crying alone 24 hours ago now making his children glow with happiness. She fit here, in his messy house with syrup on the table. She fit like she'd always been meant to. During the Polar Express that afternoon, both girls fell asleep with their heads on Rowan's lap. "They're out," Kellen whispered. "They had a big day." Rowan gently stroked Amara's hair. "This was the best Christmas I've had in 7 years. "Yeah?" "Yeah." She looked at him over the sleeping children. "Thank you for letting me be part of it." When it was time for Rowan to leave, the twins woke and immediately protested. "Do you have to go?" "I'm afraid so." But Rowan looked at Kellen questioningly. "Coffee on Saturday?" he suggested. At the door, the twins hugged her fiercely. "We love you, Miss Rowan," Lenny said simply. Rowan's breath caught. She knelt to their level. "I love you too. Both of you. So much." Outside, Kellen walked Rowan to her car. The night was cold and clear, stars sharp overhead. "I meant it," Rowan said softly. "I forgot what it felt like to belong somewhere." "You belong here," Kellen said, the words coming from somewhere deep and true. "With us, if you want to." "I want to," Rowan whispered, "more than anything." They stood there, breath fogging in the cold. Something, unspoken, building between them. Saturday coffee became sacred. The twins would paint while Kellen and Rowan talked about everything: books, work frustrations, childhood memories. Slowly, carefully, they built something beautiful. Spring arrived with the twins' 7th birthday. Watching Rowan laugh with the girls, Kellen realized how seamlessly she'd woven into their lives. One rainy morning, while the twins colored, Rowan said softly, "Today is my sister's birthday." Sophie would have been 19. Kellen set down his coffee. "What was she like?" A real smile touched Rowan's lips. Stubborn. She wanted to be a marine biologist, watched shark documentaries and lectured us about ocean conservation. She was 12 and already knew exactly who she'd be. She sounds amazing. She was. Rowan's voice cracked. Sometimes I'm terrified I'm forgetting her. Not the big things, but the small ones. How she snorted when she laughed. The sound of her voice. Kellen reached across the table, covering her hand with his. You're not forgetting her. You're just learning to carry her differently. Rowan turned her hand over, lacing her fingers through his. Neither let go. It was the first time they'd held hands. It felt monumental. As spring melted into summer, their relationship deepened. Weekend outings to botanical gardens, where Rowan taught the twins to really see flowers, to capture beauty with their watercolors. Kellen found himself watching her more than the scenery, the way she laughed with her whole body, the way she got on her knees to see things from the twins' perspective. One perfect Saturday at the beach, warm sand, sparkling water, the girls' delighted squeals. After they'd built an elaborate sand castle and the twins ran off to hunt shells, Kellen reached for Rowan's hand. She looked at him, surprised by the sudden seriousness in his expression. I need to tell you something, he said, voice rough. I haven't felt this alive since before Talia died. Maybe ever. And I can't pretend anymore. He squeezed her hand. I'm in love with you, Rowan. Completely, terrifyingly in love with you. The color drained from Rowan's face. She pulled her hand back. Kellen, what if I'm not enough? What if I can't be what you need? What those girls need? I've never been a mother. What if I mess everything up? Kellen cupped her face gently. You already are enough. You show up. You care. You love them in your own way. That's all any of us can do. But what if... He kissed her then, soft and tentative. When they pulled apart, Rowan was crying, but she was also smiling. I love you too, she whispered. I'm so scared, but I love you so much. They kissed again, longer this time. 6 months of careful friendship transforming. Daddy and Miss Rowan are kissing, Amara's voice rang across the beach. They broke apart, laughing to find both twins grinning. About time, Lenny declared. We've been waiting forever. The next few weeks should, have been blissful. But Rowan started pulling away. It was subtle at first. Slower text responses, canceled Saturday coffee, showing up to dinner looking exhausted and distracted. Within a few weeks, Kellen couldn't ignore it anymore. You're working late again tonight? He asked when she called to cancel their evening plans. I'm sorry. There's this launch deadline. The team always needs you, Rowan. You could delegate. Silence, then quietly. That's not fair. Isn't it? You've canceled 4 times in 2 weeks. The girls keep asking when you're coming over. I'm not making excuses. I'm running a business. This is what you do. When things get real or scary, you disappear into work. You did it after you lost your family, and you're doing it now. I can't do this, she whispered. His anger dissolved immediately. Can't do what? Last week, Amara scraped her knee at the park, just a little scrape, and I froze Kellen. I didn't know if I should put a bandage on it or clean it first. A 7-year-old falls down and I panic. What happens when it's something bigger? Rowan... And yesterday, Lenny asked me to help with her math homework, and I got the answer wrong. She trusted me to help, and I let her down. I'm in over my head. You're learning, just like I did, just like every parent does. But I'm not their parent. That's the problem. I'm terrified that one day you'll realize you need someone who actually knows how to be a mother. Then let me be clear. I don't need someone who has it all figured out. I need you. Messy, imperfect, scared you. That's enough. Silence, then quietly. What if it's not? Come over this weekend. Talk to me face to face. Let us prove you're already doing better than you think. Another long pause. Okay, Saturday. That Saturday, Rowan arrived looking like she hadn't slept in days. The twins were at a play date. They sat on his back porch, summer heat thick around them. I'm sorry for pulling away. You were right, I was hiding. Why? Because this is real now. You love me. I love you. The girls are attached, and that means I could actually hurt them if I mess up. I lost everyone I loved, Kellen. Everyone. And the thought of building a family again. What if I lose you too? I can't survive that twice. Kellen reached for her hand. You think I'm not scared? Every time you drive away, I think about Talia leaving for errands and never coming home. I'm terrified of losing you. Then why are you pushing for this? Because the alternative is worse. Staying safe and alone isn't really living. I did that for 3 years. Then you came along and reminded me what it felt like to actually feel something. I'm just so afraid of failing you, of failing them. You won't. And even if you make mistakes, because you will, we'll figure it out together. That's what family does. She took a shaky breath. Okay, I'll try. I'll stop hiding. I'll show up. She leaned into him, and he held her while she cried out years of fear. When the twins came home later, Rowan was still there. Things stabilized. Summer turned to fall. The twins started first grade. Until 3 weeks in, they came home with blotchy faces, clearly having cried. What happened? Kellen asked, kneeling. Lenny's lip trembled. Madison said we don't have a real family. What? She said because we don't have a mommy, we're not real, Amara added, voice breaking. Kellen's heart broke. Girls, that's not true. But she's right, Lenny sobbed. We don't have a mommy. Everyone else does. He held them while they cried, rage burning at a 7-year-old bully who'd ripped open old wounds. That evening, Rowan came over. The twins were subdued, picking at their food. Someone at school was mean, Kellen explained carefully. Said hurtful things about them not having a mother. Rowan's face fell. Oh, sweethearts. Then Lenny looked up. Are you trying to be our new mommy? The question hung like a grenade. What? Rowan went pale. Because you can't, Amara said, voice rising. We already have a mommy. She's in heaven. You can't replace her. I would never. But you're here all the time, Lenny's voice broke. And Daddy loves you and we love you. But you're not our real mommy. Madison was right. We don't have a real family because our mommy is gone and you're just pretending. The words came from deep hurt, from bullying, confusion, grief for a mother they barely remembered. All the emotions they'd held in came pouring out, misdirected at the person who'd become safe enough to receive them. Both girls dissolved into hysterical tears. Kellen tried to calm them, but they were inconsolable. Finally, he had to take them to their room, leaving Rowan sitting frozen. When he came back, she was crying silently, hands shaking. I should go, she whispered. Rowan, they didn't mean. Yes, they did. And maybe they're right. Maybe I'm making it worse by being here. You're not making anything worse. I need to go. I need to think. Her voice broke. I'm sorry. She left before he could stop her. For 3 days, Rowan didn't answer calls or texts. The twins were miserable, crying at random moments. Then Lenny came to him, eyes red and puffy. We made her leave, didn't we? No, sweetie. But we hurt her feelings, Amara sobbed. We didn't mean to. We love Miss Rowan, we just got confused and scared. Madison said those mean things and we got all mixed up inside. We don't think she's pretending, Lenny said desperately. Can we tell her we're sorry? Please, Daddy, we miss her. That night, Kellen called Rowan. She finally answered. The girls want to talk to you. They're devastated. They've been crying for 3 days. They want to apologize. They miss you. I miss you. Please don't run from this. Silence, then softly. Do they really want me back? They really do. That girl at school hurt them, and they misdirected all that pain at you because you're safe. Because deep down, they know you won't abandon them even when they lash out. More silence. Okay, I'll come tomorrow, but we need to talk, all of us, about what this is and what I can be to them. The next afternoon, Rowan arrived. The moment she stepped through the door, the twins ran to her. "We're so sorry, Miss Rowan. We didn't mean it. Please don't go away." Rowan knelt, pulling them close, tears streaming. "I'm sorry, too. I shouldn't have left like that." "We love you," Lenny sobbed. "We were just scared and confused. Madison said mean things and we got all mixed up inside. We don't think you're trying to replace Mommy. We love you being here." "I know, babies. I love you too. So much." After they'd calmed, Rowan suggested they sit together. "I want you to understand something," she said carefully. "I love you both very much, and I love your daddy. But I can never be your mommy." The twins' faces fell, and Rowan quickly continued. "Your mommy was special and wonderful, and she loved you more than anything. No one could ever replace her. She will always, always be your mommy. Do you understand?" Both nodded slowly. "Then what are you?" Amara asked, trembling. Rowan smiled gently. "I'm someone who loves you, someone who wants to be part of your life, not as your mommy, but as me, as Rowan. Someone who's choosing to be here, to care for you, to show up every single day." "Like extra love," Lenny said slowly. "Exactly like extra love. You can love me and love your mommy at the same time. Your hearts are big enough for both." "And you won't try to make us forget her?" Amara asked anxiously. "Never. We can talk about her whenever you want. Your mommy is part of your story, and that's beautiful." The twins were quiet, processing. Then Lenny asked, "But what do we call you if you're not our mommy?" "Whatever feels right. Miss Rowan is perfect. Or just Rowan. There's no rush to figure it out." The twins looked at each other, having one of their silent conversations. Then they nodded. "Okay," Lenny said, stronger now. "You're our Rowan." "Our extra love," Amara added, managing a smile. Rowan opened her arms, and both girls crashed into her. Over their heads, she met Kellen's eyes. The relief and love there made his chest ache. The conversation didn't fix everything immediately. There were still hard moments, still confusion, occasional tears. But they were navigating it together. Rowan didn't push. She let the girls set the pace and slowly trust rebuilt. Spring arrived. One evening, Kellen found a permission slip buried in Lenny's backpack. "Mother's Day tea at school. Why didn't you give this to me?" he asked gently. Lenny shrugged. "Because I don't have anyone to bring. Everyone else will have their real mom." Kellen started to suggest alternatives, but Lenny suddenly looked up. "Could I ask Rowan?" Kellen blinked. "You want to ask Rowan?" "She's not my mommy," Lenny said carefully. "But she's our Rowan, our extra love, and I think I'd like her to be there if she wants to." When they asked, Rowan cried, "You really want me there?" "Yes," Lenny said firmly. "You're important to us." "Then I'd be honored." The Mother's Day tea was everything. Rowan arrived, nervous but determined. Lenny grabbed her hand the moment she walked in. They sat at tiny tables drinking weak tea. Lenny showed Rowan the card she'd made, stick figures holding hands with "Thank you for being my extra love" written in crayon. Rowan pressed it to her chest, tears streaming. "This is the most beautiful thing anyone's ever given me." Around them, other mothers chatted, biological mothers who'd never known loss. And there was Rowan, who'd lost everyone, cherishing this like the precious gift it was. Leaving, Lenny held Rowan's hand tightly. "I'm really glad you came." "Me too, sweetheart. Me too." In the car, Kellen caught Rowan's eye in the rearview mirror. What he saw there, the love, the gratitude, the belonging, made his decision firm. It was time. The next week, Kellen went ring shopping with two opinionated 7-year-olds. "It needs to be sparkly," Amara declared. "But not too sparkly," Lenny corrected. "Rowan likes simple things." They settled on a sapphire surrounded by small diamonds, sapphire like the sky the day they'd kissed. "She's going to love it," Lenny breathed. "She's going to say yes, right?" Amara asked nervously. "I hope so, baby." "She will," both girls said with certainty. They planned it for Christmas Eve, exactly 2 years after the night that changed everything. Back to the park, back to their bench. Walking through the displays that evening, the twins could barely contain their excitement. Kellen had the ring box in his pocket and his daughter's hands in his. He'd never been more nervous. They found the bench beneath the oak tree. Rowan sat down, pulling the twins close. 2 years ago tonight," she said softly. "I was sitting right here, completely broken." "And we found you," Amara announced. "You did. You saved my life that night." The twins exchanged a look, then stood together. "We have a question to ask you," Lenny said. Before Rowan could respond, Kellen knelt in the snow beside the bench. Her eyes went wide, hand flying to her mouth. 2 years ago," Kellen began, voice shaking, "my daughters offered to lend you their father." He pulled out the ring box, revealing the sapphire sparkling in the lights. "Tonight, we're asking if you'd like to keep him. Keep us. Permanently." The twins moved closer, one on each side, completing the picture. "Will you marry me, Rowan? Will you be my wife? Will you choose this messy, imperfect, beautiful family, and let us choose you right back?" Rowan nodded frantically, tears streaming. "Yes, yes, 1,000 times yes." The twins shrieked with joy. Kellen stood, slipping the ring onto her finger with trembling hands, and then all four were wrapped in each other's arms. Around them, a crowd had gathered. Mrs. Hart stood with her camera. The applause washed over them. "We're going to be a real family now," Amara exclaimed. "We already are a real family," Rowan said. "We have been for a long time." Kellen pulled her close, kissing her as the twins bounced, and the crowd cheered, and the Christmas lights twinkled. "I never thought I'd have this again. A family, people who love me, a place to belong." "You always had a place to belong, right here with us." The wedding was in spring, small and perfect. The twins were flower girls, beaming in matching dresses. When the officiant asked, "Who gives this woman?" the twins spoke together. "We do, because she chose us and we choose her." There wasn't a dry eye in the venue. Life settled into a beautiful rhythm. Rowan moved in, her things blending with theirs. The twins called her Rowan, and she called them her girls, and it worked. They talked about Talia often. The girls would ask questions, share memories, look at pictures, and Rowan would sit with them, honoring their mother's memory because she understood. She carried her own family in her heart, too. 2 years after the wedding, on a perfect Saturday morning in late spring, Rowan woke to the smell of burning pancakes. She sat up in bed smiling as she heard giggling from downstairs and Kellen's voice saying, "No, no, we can save it. Just scrape off the black parts." Her birthday. She'd almost forgotten. When she came downstairs in her robe, the kitchen was chaos. Kellen stood at the stove looking frazzled, flour in his hair. The twins were at the table, surrounded by art supplies and what appeared to be glitter everywhere. "Surprise!" they all shouted when they saw her. "We made you birthday pancakes," Amara announced proudly. "They're a little crispy," Lenny admitted. "But crispy is just extra crunchy," Rowan laughed, pulling them all into hugs. "I love extra crunchy pancakes." They ate breakfast together, slightly burnt pancakes drowning in syrup, fresh strawberries, too much whipped cream. The twins chatted about their plans for the day, about the super special surprise they had for her. Later, they presented her with handmade cards. Amara's had a drawing of all 4 of them, holding hands in front of their house, hearts floating overhead. Lenny's showed a family tree with branches labeled Mommy in Heaven, Daddy, Lenny, Amara, and at the top, in careful letters, Mom, with an arrow pointing to a stick figure that was clearly Rowan. Rowan's breath caught. "Do you like it?" Lenny asked anxiously. Rowan couldn't speak. She just nodded, tears streaming. "We wanted to tell you something," Amara said, suddenly serious. Both twins looked at each other, then at Kellen, who nodded encouragingly. They stood together, holding hands. "You're our mom now," Lenny said simply. "Not instead of our first mommy, but you're our mom too." "Our here mom," Amara added. "The one who shows up every day." "We love you, Mom," they said together. The word hung in the air. Mom. Rowan dropped to her knees, pulling both girls into her arms, sobbing. Thank you for choosing me." "Is it okay?" Lenny asked. "That we call you Mom?" "It's everything," Rowan whispered. "You're everything." Kellen knelt beside them, wrapping his arms around all three of his girls. 4 people who'd all known loss, who'd found each other in the wreckage and built something beautiful. "Best birthday ever?" he asked softly. "Best birthday ever," Rowan confirmed. Amara pulled back, looking at Rowan seriously. "Do you think our mommy in heaven is happy that we have you?" Rowan touched her cheek gently. "I think she's very grateful you have someone here who loves you as much as she did." "We love you, Mom," Lenny said again, testing out the word with a smile. "I love you too, baby," Rowan replied. "Both of you. So much." Outside, the spring evening faded into night. Inside, warmth and love and the quiet peace of knowing exactly where you belonged. Hope had begun again on that park bench 4.5 years ago, when 2 little girls decided a crying stranger needed rescuing. And it would continue forever, in this home, with this family, with these 4 hearts that had chosen each other.